You ever feel just overloaded? Like your brain's running on empty? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why that is. And trust me, the answer is probably not what you think. It all kicks off with a feeling I'm pretty sure you're going to recognize.
Yeah, this feeling. You know it, right? That constant buzzing need to be doing something, anything. Because just sitting still, it feels almost painful, impossible.
Or maybe it's this, that deep exhaustion in your head, the kind that a full 8 hours of sleep just doesn't even dent.
And of course, there's this, your focus. It's like it's been shattered into a million tiny little pieces. Trying to concentrate on just one thing for more than a few seconds? Good luck.
But I think this is the one that really gets under your skin. That persistent, nagging feeling that something is just wrong. You can't put your finger on it, but it's there. So what is that? Well, let's find out. Okay, so here's the first huge takeaway I want you to get. That feeling, it is not a personal failure. It doesn't mean you're weak. It's actually a perfectly rational signal. It's an alarm bell ringing loud and clear from your brain telling you that something in your environment is deeply wrong.
And this right here, this is the absolute heart of the matter. The problem isn't you, it's the massive, jarring disconnect between our ancient, evolved brains in the crazy modern world they're stuck trying to navigate. We call this the great mismatch.
Honestly, once you understand this mismatch, everything else starts to make sense. At its core, it's really a story of two totally different worlds.
I mean, just look at this. On one side, you've got the world our brains were actually built for. Slow, quiet, predictable. The threats were things you could see, like a predator. And on the other side, that's our world. It's a non-stop fire hose of information, constant alerts, and this invisible but relentless pressure.
And here's the kicker. Your brain, running on its ancient operating system, literally cannot tell the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and a push notification. It reacts to every ping, every breaking news headline, every single email as if it's a potential life or death threat, a signal that requires your immediate attention. So, what happens?
It's not a sign you don't have enough willpower, it's not a lack of motivation, and it is definitely not because you're lazy. So many of us beat ourselves up over this, but the real source of the problem, well, it lies somewhere else entirely.
When your brain is constantly reacting like this, well, it pushes our nervous system into a state it was never ever meant to stay in, a permanent low-grade state of alert. And you can see this playing out all day long. Think about it. Every single notification on your phone, ping, hijacks a tiny piece of your attention. Every headline is engineered to spark fear or curiosity. Every picture you scroll past on social media is a chance for comparison, for anxiety. You see, our brains are wired to treat new information as potentially life-saving. But now, the bad news never stops, the content is literally infinite, so our brain just stays on.
Power down. I love this analogy. It's like putting your car in neutral, slamming your foot on the gas, and calling it idling. Yeah, you're not going anywhere, but you're burning fuel, making a ton of noise, and putting a whole lot of wear and tear on the engine. That is exactly what we're doing to our minds.
This idea that being always on is the same thing as being productive. It's a lie. It's just your nervous system on a treadmill, constantly scanning for threats that never actually show up. The result? A complete and total system overheat. And this is the feedback loop that traps us. The stress just never ends, because modern life doesn't have any real stopping points, right? There's no finish line. And those rewards we're all chasing, the likes, the notifications, they're basically junk food for your brain. It's a quick, cheap hit that just leaves you feeling empty. Our old school operating system just wasn't built for it, and poof, it overheats. So, okay, we try to rest. But look at this. Real recovery, what our brain actually needs is to power down. We're talking silence, stillness, peace. But what do we call rest? Scrolling on our phones, binge watching a show. It's just more stimulation. We're not actually recharging the battery. We're just changing the channel on the distraction. This metaphor is just perfect. Our idea of rest today is like sitting in your driveway, revving the engine and calling it idle. You're not going anywhere, but you are absolutely still burning fuel and stressing out the system. And all this constant alertness, it leads to what feels like a major attention crisis. But here's the thing, your ability to focus hasn't vanished. It's just being shattered. It's being fragmented into 1,000 tiny pieces by a world that forces you to switch what you're doing hundreds of times a day. It steals the quiet and the safety you need to actually think deeply. Okay, look,
If you have been beating yourself up for feeling distracted and burnt out, I really need you to listen to this next part. It is not a personal failure. And what's wild is that for some of the smartest people out there, the problem is actually worse.
Yeah, welcome to what's called the intelligence trap. It's a super counterintuitive idea. You'd think being smarter would be an advantage here, right? Nope. A more powerful brain just absorbs more of the noise. It sees more of the chaotic connections. It tries to overprocess everything. In this world, your intelligence doesn't act like a shield, it acts like an amplifier for the overload. And you have to understand, this feeling of exhaustion, it's not an accident. It's a feature, not a bug. Our digital world is engineered for maximum engagement. Our economies are designed for endless growth. Our human limits, they were never really part of the blueprint. Your burnout isn't the system failing, it's the system working exactly as intended. You're the collateral damage.
I want you to let this next one really sink in. Think about it. You wouldn't blame your phone's battery for dying if you left it out in the blazing hot sun all day, right? Of course not. The environment is hostile to the hardware. Well, we are running our biological hardware in an equally hostile information environment. And then we have the nerve to blame ourselves when the battery drains.
So when you boil it all down, what's the real problem here? It's not any single app. It's not one piece of technology. It's one word: scale. It's infinity. We are finite biological creatures designed for a finite world, and we've plugged ourselves directly into an infinite one.
And let's be real. This pressure, it's not going anywhere. If anything, it's just going to speed up. And that means we need a totally radical shift in how we think about our own minds and our future.
For so long, the advice has been, go faster, optimize, be more productive, just to keep your head above water. But what if we've been running the wrong race this whole time? Maybe the most important skill for the future isn't about learning to do more. It's about learning where and how to stop. It's about finally protecting the only truly finite resource we have, our own minds.
And that leaves us with this one final question. How long can the mind survive an environment that never turns off? This isn't about being pessimistic, it's about being realistic. Ignoring this is the real danger.